Could you design a game product for the workplace to mitigate imposter syndrome?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I didn't really got that.
Could you design a game product for the workplace to mitigate imposter syndrome?
Imposter.
I can give you a little bit explanation about imposter syndrome. It is more like when people are working from home right now, especially when they just join a team, they do not belong to the team. They feel like they're someone else. They're like an imposter inside the team. So it is especially like during the work from home period, we want the our colleagues to feel better. So we want to design a game product for them to mitigate the imposter syndrome.
Oh, got that. That is really like sounds like a jargon from the work from home style. That's a really interesting question. Okay, I would like to ask some clarified question before I dig into most details. So the first question will be, what is my role? Am I a startup or a product manager from EA, a game company, or general IT company like Facebook or Google?
You can make your own assumptions. You can be a product manager as a startup or EA or internet company. I don't have any restrictions about that part. But just maybe think about the product that you want to design or the clients that you want to have and make your best assumption.
Okay, cool. So the next question will be, like, what is the goal to building such a game for the workplace? As you mentioned that you want to mitigate the imposter syndrome. So if there are some more deeper goal for you, like you want to improve the employees working experience, or you want them to like stay in the keep in touch, keep loyal to the company. Is there some like deeper reason you want to develop such a game?
For the employee satisfaction, I know there are a lot of factors to the fact that like the work that they do in the day-to-day basis and a lot of other like how the managers treat them. So from the game perspective, we want the users to feel good, to feel belonged in the scene. But from a business perspective, we want you to have enough clients to support your R&D.
So basically, can I like ask that if this game is built for the people who is new to the company, or the people who has already working very long time for the company? Because if they have like if they have worked for the company for many years, they maybe are familiar with their colleagues, and then they work from home. So there is a very solid base for them to communicate. But if we design a game for the people who is going to join the company in these 2 years, maybe they didn't have meet on offline. So is their preference?
We don't have any preference right now. We're just thinking about maybe employees that feel not belong to this team. So maybe they're a new hire, or maybe there are people who are hired during the COVID-19 work from home pandemic. So we don't expect all the employees to feel like this is the game that is necessary for them. But we do want to make the workplace more friendly and more feel like home and feel like themselves.
Okay, so basically, let's recap the goal is that we want to make the employees belong to the team using this game.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Can you give me like 3 minutes or 2 minutes to write something down? Okay, I have something in my mind, so I would like to discuss with you to make sure that we are on the same direction. So firstly, I would like to think about so our basic goal is to increase the belongingness of the employees to their organization, no matter if he's a new hiring or his old employees. So so as you mentioned that we are in an era of the pandemic, so we cannot like working together in person. So the first thing I think about is the pain points of the work from home. So the first one will be the employees will lack the deep communication beyond the work. People will just open the Zoom when they need to meet and finish the work, maybe opening a working session on the Zoom, and then whenever they finish the work, they will like go back to their own life. So compared to the traditional working scenario, they lack the scenario of the to trigger the deeper communication beyond the work. Like you cannot like chat with your friend about the football games last night because you just meet each other on the online, and that's the first pain point. And the second is the second one is that actually actually especially for the new hiring people, they do not have a very solid base previous communication with people with the old employees, so it will be more painful for them to get involved in that in the teams. And that is a I think that is two main pinpoints. And when coming to the targeting users, because actually I'm thinking about that developing this kind of game is more like a B2B to say business. We will like sell the game to the business, and they will like let their employees play our game. So I'm thinking about which kind of company we can serving for. The first one maybe it's an IT company, and the second one maybe it's some traditional company like apparel or fashion, something like that. And I'm thinking about I would like to choose the IT company for our game because of the following three reasons. The first one is like the video gamers is more is mainly the male, and also in the IT company the males is a majority of the employees. And the second reason is that the employees of the IT company is are relatively young, and so they are more like they grow up with playing games. So playing games is a very natural and good way for them to trigger the social between their peers. So it is more suitable for them to implement a game to achieve the company's goal. The third one is that actually, especially in the game, a lot of games like MOBA, like the FPS, you need to collaborate with your maybe colleagues or your co-workers to achieve the success. Just like you in the workplace, you need to collaborate with your engineer, with your designers to achieve some goals. So it is especially in the IT company, you need more support from other peoples, which is exactly what game can bring to the employees. So I'm thinking I will like narrow down our target company to the IT company. And if you do not have some like suggestion or confusion, I would like to go to the brainstorm and give you some ideas about the specific game design.
What type of IT companies do you want to target first?
Um, I'm thinking that because my target company is IT company, so maybe firstly I will target the big name like the FANG, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, something like that, because you know, because they are very large scales, they really depend on the work from home model. So I'm thinking that maybe I will start from that there.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I have something in my mind. So actually when we're talking about design a game, the first thing is that we need to decide about the type of the game, like maybe you want to create a RPG or mobile or FPS or AR VR game, because different kind of game will have its pros and cons. Because when we I will like decide about the types of a game based on our goal. So actually, as I have mentioned, that our pain point is that the people cannot like meet in the person, and secondly, is that they cannot have deep communication beyond the work. So I'm thinking that I want to use this game to address the problem. The first one is trigger the deeper communication. The second one is maybe transfer the deeper communication to the offsite meeting. And the second one, maybe we want to create a collaboration beyond the work in the game. And the third one is that we need to make our game very generalized, because as we know that not everyone is a deep gamer, so we cannot create a MOBA or some like King of Honor, someone like that, because especially for some like females users, maybe they are not very addicted to the video games. So that's something I have in my mind when I want to design such a game. So actually, because we want to generalized and collaboration and can trigger the communication, this kind of game, I would like to eliminate the possibility of RPG and MOBA and FPS, because of two reasons. The first one is actually in the market, there is a very mature video games, no matter for MOBA, a lot of people like the Wild Rift. And also for FPS, we have the EA's Apex Legend. So actually, if the employees they are very like this kind of games, we can just create some club in the company to like give them a community to play that kind of game. So we will not, it is, there is no necessary for us to design such a games for them. So actually based on the logic, I would like to design a game, maybe is very more relaxing, and because we want to trigger the communication. So I'm thinking about maybe we could create a game allow our employees to adopting a cat or a dog on the in the game. Maybe it's not a cat. Maybe it's the company's mascot. We can just create a vendor or a representative of the company's mascot, and we can allow every employees adopt and maybe let's just say that as a cat. Maybe no matter you are old employees or new hiring, you can adapt a cat in that game, and you will have a common in that game. You will have a common life space for the groups of cats, and each cat will has its own its own space, just like the I would like to say that every cat is a vendor of the employees. You can just use your cat to like build some things in the virtual world, and you can use your cat to chat with other employees' cat, something like that. And also, I'm thinking that we could also create a AR version of our games to make the game more innovative and attractive. especially for the new hiring. That is basically what what is in my mind for the game design. Do you have some like confusion or something you want me to dig in?
Two questions. First one, I could understand the perspective that you want every employee to adopt a mascot or a cat or anything in the game to help them communicate. But the thing is, when they already have the opportunity to communicate offline or communicate elsewhere, why do you think a cat or anything or a pet in a virtual game would help them to communicate more? So I couldn't see how you want to design the product for more communication.
Okay, that's a good question. So so actually I'm thinking about that because you can personalize your cat, right? So actually when people they are not very familiar with their colleague, maybe they will not like start a communication on the social media like the Snapchat or something like that. But if we can create some gameplay very interested in our game, like we can let our players to personalize their own cat, and maybe we can maybe each cat can have some very personalized action or some personalized collection. Maybe let's take an example. Maybe you are crazy fans of the players of the music. So maybe your room is fulfilled with different kind of digital players and musics. And when other people come to visit your virtual room, maybe they can leave a message, and maybe you can just, if you are also online, you can dig into immediate chat, and it will trigger a I think, a very intuitive and natural scenario for the colleagues to start a communication. And actually, I think that especially for the very beginning, I just want to create a scenario to start a communication, and then maybe they can come back to other social media or the to communicate more, or even going offsite to have a trip, something like that.
Gotcha. So you want to make the selling point of your product to be personalization. You want
Yeah.
to add their personalized maybe interest on designing the mascot in the game, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Do you see any risk in this game design?
I'm thinking about that. Maybe we need to, maybe the biggest risk is about the the permission management, because as we know that maybe if we want to implement such a game, maybe we need to guard the information, personal information of our employees. So but actually because in a game sometimes you do not need to use your real name. So actually we need to make sure that this game everyone in this game should use his employee ID, and to make sure that they will create a very transparent and transparent environment for our game. And that's it, the risk I can think. And the second one I'm thinking about, because I do not want to develop a very large game, because maybe this game is just a mini game merged in the OA system or some internal system, and especially for the new hiring person, they can just use this game to get familiar with more people. Yeah.
Okay. What about if like there is a possibility at the workplace that people spend too much time on your game, do you have any solution for that?
Oh, that's a good question. So you're talking about this risk, right?
Yeah, maybe that's one of the risks. I don't know how you want to design or iterate the games in the future, but probably at some point, your game has too much user engagement, and people just like addicted to it. Do you have any solutions for that?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question because, but I don't think that my game design will lead to that kind of of a problem because actually, it's really like that you have your I believe I do not know that if you have cat or dog by yourself, but actually, if you have a physical animal in your workplace. I'm thinking about that. Maybe you will just play with him at a specific time, and maybe at the daytime, most of the time, your animal will be sleeping. So actually, in the game, we can do the same thing. We can just set our mascot they're sleeping at the work day, working time of the employees.
Good point. And my other question is, this is one of your solutions. Do you have any other ideas?
Um, actually, as I mentioned about that, I do not think other kind of game is suitable for us to implement to solve this problem, especially for the IT company, because especially for game industry, there is a very traditional working pipeline to like develop a game and also very loyalty gamers for each kind of game. So it's not very wise for us to like create very traditional video games. So we can just like focus on the specific scenarios and use some more interesting or innovative method to develop this kind of games. So if you want me to say how could I iterate this game, maybe I would add the AR or VR version in a long run, because if we continue to working from home in a very long term, maybe in the next 10 years or maybe long futures, there we can foresee that in the future we will like more addicted or open to the VR or AR technology. So maybe I'm thinking about that. Maybe in the future we will have a meeting collaboration with our colleagues in the VR world. So also for our game, we need to we can transfer to the VR version very smoothly, and just imagine that you have your virtual cat on your phone or mobile or laptop now, and maybe in 5 years you can just transform to the virtual world to play with your cat.
Mhm. How do you want to define the success of the product?
Okay, good question. I'm I would like to use the because I'm saying because as we mentioned as I mentioned that I will probably create a chatting room for our games. So I will use the numbers of the communication in our games, especially for the two player who do not have any connection before, to use the number to measure my success, to use as metrics as my North Star metrics. And also, as you mentioned, that we do not want our player very addicted to the game. So also, I will keep track to the average time of the daily users to make sure that it is maybe under average time limit, maybe under 1 hours or 2 hours. And that's that's 2 metrics I will like come up with my man personally.
Do you have anything to add?
I think probably no for so far.
Yeah. How do you think about your answer?
I think it's just so because actually I think we cannot design a game just like we design a general product, like something like that. So I cannot do the like competitor analyze, define the vision and the mission, and also also based on our scenario, I cannot like design a very traditional game. So there is a lot of limitation for me this time. So I'm thinking about under this scenario, how can I get a good performance?
So first, to answer your question, there are competitors in this field. Just because you do not have a full-time role right now in the United States doesn't mean that there is no competitors working on this. So I asked you this question is because after I joined LinkedIn, I've tried multiple apps. Like we have those online games just for employees. We have the external vendors just to host games for employees, which is incredible. I don't understand like why the company use so much money to hire a vendor externally to just organize games for employees. Just to like for everybody, we just have 1 hour just to play games. Okay, it's very like it feels incredible. It feels amazing, and it really helped me with my imposter syndrome. And I'm thinking if it is not an external vendor, the companies might also want to purchase online game for the employees. That is also possible. And because you're interviewing gaming company, so I'm asking you that question. So there are a lot of competitors in this area. It doesn't necessarily to be a gaming company. They could have all kinds of small games. Doesn't need the technology from a game company. Doesn't need also like maybe doesn't need the logic from a gaming company because all those games are not typical online games. So it's just how you want to help the employees to spend time together, have happy hours together. So
yeah. Can I ask that what kind of game LinkedIn use in your onboarding process?
they have those like quiz, and they just divide all the employees into group of 4 or group of 5 and answer the questions. And for every round, there is a leader of each group. So that one need to be the one who press the submit button. So it depends on which leader submit the fastest. They could like score different teams. And they have their weird questions. Those questions come from different cultures, come from different background. So it doesn't make sense for like maybe one of the teammate to answer all the questions. They need collaboration. And also they have like those like online games to maybe one of the employee need to draw something based on the description and the others will guess what it is. Like all kinds of weird games. And also like they have those voting for fruit. Like so basically there are like multiple fruits and they have like competitions together. And you come up with your favorite fruit and debate with others. So
okay. So like it's mainly like puzzle game.
Yeah, those games are pretty boring if you play yourself, but it's so much fun to play with your team.
Oh, got it.
Interesting. So maybe like based on our discussion, you can actually define this question as maybe how to help the employees spend time outside their work. But still they spend time together. maybe it is not a traditional game. I really appreciate you dividing all the game types and talk about mobile game and RVC games. Those really exist, but for this type of questions, you probably want to think broader. But overall, I think your answer is pretty great. I could see your progress, your improvement in your English speaking, and also you have more confidence. And I could see your logic, which is super great. I would say like this is the first time that I feel like you can pass this interview from our mock interviews. And I could really see your progress and I could see your hard work. So keep the hard work. And also, like when I asked you the question at the first place, and I saw your hesitation when you heard the imposter syndrome. It doesn't matter, like you worse. So, and also your interviewer might have their accent from different places. So it makes total sense for you to ask them to say it again and to maybe explain the term. Just be confident. Don't need to be concerned, be worried about your performance is not defined as this. So just ask questions and be confident.
Okay.
And I think the biggest problem or the red flag from your answer would be for pain points and for solution. It's not diverse enough. For pain points, I expect you to list like maybe 4 to 5 pain points for a gaming, for a game product, right? And for a solution, at least you should have 2 products to talk about how you want to compare with each other. Because when you talk about multiple pain points or multiple solutions, it's really a time for the interviewer to test your divergent thinking and see whether you have creativity. Especially if it's a game product, they want to see creativity inside you. So you might want to talk about multiple, like more diverse pain points as possible, and see how you want to choose one of them to develop a product. And also, if you talk about multiple pain points or solutions, it's also a time for you to show your ability to prioritize different things. So it is also a very important skill set for product managers. So that's why you need to have multiple ideas and then maybe refine those ideas as maybe one final ideas to present to the interviewer.
Okay, so talking about that, I'm a little bit curious about what kind of pain points do you think from your experience working from home? Because I know you just joined in LinkedIn last year, so maybe you're onboarding with a work from home mode.
Some of the ideas I have first, for my relationship with my team is more about business, it's more about work, but they do not understand me as a person. So they don't know what I like. They probably know what I do part-time because I always send LinkedIn posts to talk about my content creation, but they do not know like what was my thought process, like what I am what kind of person I am when I'm not at work, right? How do I spend my spare time? And they do not know what is like. Sometimes my team always bring up weird questions during a lunch, like asking me what is your favorite vegetable. To start a conversation. So I think those conversations really, like they are fun, like it's necessary. And it's a great way for the team to help know each other. So I think that is one point, is to how to understand a person from like, in a casual environment. That is one thing. And some other things I'm thinking about is, if you are targeting tech company and you talk about maybe like having a pet in your game, then you also talk about like how to integrate with internal software. And for a lot of developers, when they're writing code, they want to have those mascots to print on their screen. So it's something that you want to talk about in detail. And for my current pain point, thinking, it's also about like energy, because when I'm new in the team, I don't think I should be the one who bring too much energy to the team, because I don't know what kind of energy they want or they like. And I think for a game, I'd expect it to bring more energy to the team, to have more like fun conversations, to have more humor in the team conversation. And also, I feel like as a new person, I didn't know how my team cared about me. I don't just like out sick for like a couple of days when I first joined LinkedIn. I don't have that opportunity. Like no one reached out to me to say that I really care about you. But during those months, I could see like they care about me. They are aware of my progress. They are aware of my strengths and weaknesses, and they know, like they understand my thought process, and they really want to help me to achieve a higher goal in my career. So I think if it is like a game for them, probably you also want to show something like maybe they conquer a problem themselves as a team, but it does not necessarily to be a professional question for them. Maybe just like a casual problem for them to conquer.
Okay. Very cool, I think.
And besides that, well, another red flag I saw pretty weird. Like one of the things you mentioned about tech, why you target tech companies is because there are more males than female.
Oh yeah.
Be aware of what you said in during an interview, okay? Like, especially when it is an HR interviewing you, they probably don't like something like that. Like all those tech companies are trying to balance between genders.
Okay.
And they want the ratio to be 1:1.
Mhm.
And also, there aren't only 2 genders. So really think about how you want to structure this.
I got what you mean.
Yeah, so you don't want your interviewer to say this person have gender bias. So I strongly recommend not hiring this person. It's super weird for you to have feedback like that. And also, I can see that you have reasons to support your idea. And next time, you probably want to put your reasons into a framework. So for example, you have 3 reasons to support why you choose tech company over the others. But you probably want to talk about it like maybe the first reason I have is about user behavior, because those people are more comfortable with tech products. And the second reason is from business perspective, because those companies have better financial support. So if it is an external product, they are more likely to make the purchase. And the third reason from maybe user requirements, were like how what are the situations these companies are facing to. For example, for tech companies, the work from home coverage is the highest among all the industries, because they don't need to come offline to do the work. So you probably want to talk about why tech company from different perspectives, and come up with your own framework to analyze this problem.
Okay.
And for your metrics, I think you need to have more detailed metrics. For example, 2 metrics is not enough. This is the first thing. And the second thing is, if you talk about number of communication, how do you define communication, right? It is number of messages you send, or it is the, I don't know, like number of mini games two participants joined. I don't know, like how you define the number of communication. Communication is a very broad word. And also you didn't talk about the time frame. It is per week, it is per day, it is per month. How could you calculate the number of communication without a time frame? Also, it is very great for you to talk about B2B2C service, but how can you not mentioning the revenue if it is a B2B service?
Oh yeah, maybe that's a really good question, I think, because if we mention about B2B2C, maybe we need to look at to the ARR, the avenue recruiting revenue.
Right, because it is a new product, so you probably want to know the number of new users you acquire, the number of new enterprises that purchase your service, and also, of course, retention and monetization. You cannot only track the number of communications for your users. It's just too user focused and too narrow.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, when you talk about, like I mentioned this before, but just echo the idea again. You talk about integrating with internal system.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to visualize it, like maybe talk about how you want to integrate, what kind of software you want to integrate. If, for example, for users or like for employees to show their personality, they have their Slack status, right? They add different Slack status. So when you have this internal game, and if you integrate with Slack, then they probably have these small cat popping up when they when two people having conversations. So you probably want to visualize it and talk about your solution in a more detailed way.
Okay.
So when I asked you, do you have any other ideas? You said no. It is the interviewer giving you an opportunity to diverse thinking. So think about how the interviewer wants to direct you and check checkbox on their feedback.
Okay.
And these are the maybe potential improvements for you. And some of the things that I noticed that I feel like you did a good job. First one, you mentioned B2B2C. Second, you mentioned the types of different games. And the third one, you talk about generalization. You talk about it not necessarily to be a typical game. It's just like how to let the employee spend time outside work. And also, when you talk about AR and VR, you talk about imagine that and visualize the solution. That is pretty great. Like I could see that you are passionate about your solution and you try to visualize the idea to the interviewer. And also when I asked you about the risk, you talk about data access. That is pretty sensitive and it is a great point. For all the enterprise products, data access, privacy, safety, it's very important for the enterprise users. So, and also when you talk about enterprise users, it's also about contracts, but also about pricing, right? You do not only have your end users as your players, you also have the economic buyers to make the decision whether to purchase your service. So be aware of different stakeholders and what roles they play in this deal. Yeah, that's feedback.
Yeah, very useful information. Really appreciate for your mock interview today.
Best luck for your final rounds.
Thanks.